Hi, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me again. This is episode number 12. My guest today, all the way from the Netherlands, he is an entrepreneur, high performance and business coach, author, and just a general all-round good guy. It's Mr. Wouter Kleinsman. Hey Wouter, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, welcome. Thank you.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, had a good day. So I'm excited for this interview.
Yeah, me too. I've actually been really looking forward to it. I'm sure we've got a lot to talk about. I want to wish you a happy birthday for yesterday.
Thank you. Thank you.
And yeah, I know you've been hard at it today, getting 2 workouts in to make up for that. So top man, take my hat off to you there.
Thank you. I definitely needed it after yesterday. So back in the flow again.
Back in the game. Right, Wouter, how we're going to do this podcast is we're going to start by getting acquainted with you. So I'm going to throw 10 questions your way. And just give me the best honest answers that you can give me.
All right. I've been warned for this question, so I'm excited to answer them.
Yeah, good. Don't worry about rushing. You know, if you have to think, it's not a problem.
Cool. All right.
All right, let's go. So, full name.
Wouter Kleinsman.
Age.
31 since yesterday.
Occupation.
Occupation is entrepreneur, high performance coach, business coach.
How do you kickstart your day?
Oh, wow. Do you want to know it all? I kickstart my day at 5 with a routine, which is till 8:30. So it's just getting out of bed, drinking water, and do my whole routine. I can talk about it later if you want to.
Yeah, sure. Okay, let's move on. What is your favorite word?
Game changer.
Game changer. Yeah, I like that. That's a good word. Best gift you've ever received?
My girlfriend.
Too cute. I'm sure she's just stood hovering over you. That's why you said that.
Yeah. She's like listening, like, oh, what's going to say?
Okay, Apple or Android?
Oh, Apple, definitely.
Yes, that's my kind of guy.
There you go.
If I was to come to your house for dinner, what would you cook me?
Oh, maybe some burritos or some fresh pizza.
Sounds good. Sounds good. What time can I come?
5 in the morning.
What's the most interesting thing you've seen or read recently?
Wow, that's a good question. Well, I think the which I liked was on Netflix from Bill Gates. His documentary. It was really interesting to see how he lives. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. I didn't even know there was a documentary with Bill Gates, but now you've told me, I'll be watching that.
Yeah, it's good. It's interesting.
Okay, so your final one, Wouter, is what's the best piece of advice you have ever received?
I think my best advice was when I went through the roller coaster in my life and I became conscious about high performance and how to take your whole life to the next level instead of only being successful as an entrepreneur but lacking in your health or relationships and those kind of things. So that it's possible, the best advice, it is possible to like reach your true potential in life on every level of your life. Yeah. That was really important. Yeah.
Okay. So continuing with that then. So you said you're an entrepreneur, high performance and business coach.
Yes.
What does high performance coach mean?
So high performance coach is like high performance. When you look about that, it's all about reaching your true potential in life in all areas of your life, and then on a sustainable way. So not like peak performance, but sustainable way. So what I do as a high performance coach, I coach people to reach to their true potential in life in all areas of their life. Yeah.
Awesome. That sounds like I need your phone number.
Yes, you can definitely get that. It's awesome. It's life changing, if you ask me. Definitely.
So you couple that up with a business coach as well. So that I take it is to help businesses or self-employed people starting their own business.
Yeah, that's correct. So the nice thing about the combination is that a lot of entrepreneurs are like really focusing on the business, so the business is going
Mm.
well. But then besides that, maybe their relationship is lacking or their health is lacking, things like that. So when you combine
Mm.
business coaching and high performance coaching, you can get the best out of an entrepreneur, but also in his lifestyle, his health, and all everything around. So you can really get him through his true potential in life. Yeah.
Cool. And so, what led you into that profession?
Well, the thing was that I started in 2009 my own online marketing business, and it is for quite some years. And then I think, I don't know, after 5, 6 years, I was doing more like freelance work. So I was a lot of times in the car, driving around, traffic jam, things like that. And I did earn a lot of money, but I definitely wasn't happy. And I was wondering, like, how can it be? Because I earn a lot of money, I'm doing my work good, people are happy. So I became a bit in a roller coaster of different emotions, breakup in relationships. So I started investing in myself, more in meditations and things all around that, like personal
Mm.
development. So I try to get a bit of balance back. And then at a sudden moment, I found out about high performance because I didn't know anything about high performance. And I was like, wow, that's interesting because the most things I do, the way of living as a high performer, it's really a thing you can be. And that so it became in my consciousness. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I saw the Brandon Burchard, he was certifying people as high performance coach. So I made the decision to go to San Diego and certify myself as a high performance coach. And from that moment, I started coaching people as a high performance coach. And I was like, I know so much about business, I know so much about online marketing. So that moment, I was thinking I also gonna start doing business coaching because I already wanted to do quite some years doing business coaching, but because of my limited beliefs and my fears of who am I in this world to be a coach, it was holding me back to do that. So after I became the coach, I was helping people and people were really happy and they were making great results. I made the next step to also become a business coach to help people even better in their lives.
Okay, that's really interesting. And what I like about that story there is the fact that you had money,
Yeah, definitely.
and but at the same time you weren't happy, and that's where I think a lot of people really get stuck because they think I've got to stay in this job just because it's good
Yeah,
money. But
yeah,
ultimately, if you're not happy, that's only going to spiral out of control. You're going to end up resenting that job and resenting what you do.
yeah. Indeed, that's the whole thing, and it's like we people have like three kind of fears, and one of the fears we have the most is that if we want to switch, for example. So for me, example, I had a very good online marketing business, made a lot of money, but making the switch in my head, one of the fears we have is the fear of losing out, like the fear of losing things in our lives. So for me, it could be like, well, I got a good business, and what if I couldn't make the switch to coach, and it's not going well, and I'm gonna lose a lot of money, things like that. So that fear was also really holding me back for making the next step in my life. And I think a lot of people they know from deep from inside they can do so much better. They have so much more potential, but like fear is holding them small and holding them back for really doing the things they want to do in life.
And how would you say to somebody that is feeling the same way, like I want to do more, I've got these plans, I've got an idea and I want to
Mm.
do this, but I'm worried about the fact that I'm going to have to leave this job. I'm potentially going to have a pay cut. All the normal worries that you have with bills and everything else. How do you break away from that? How do you sort of burst that fear bubble, what you're kind of living in?
I see what you mean. So the thing I'm writing about in my book, because I write about the fears there, and it's I call it, it's like the mastery of life, and the mastery of life is about that you should see the fears you have in life, you should see it as a game. So a fear is just a thought in your head which is trying to keep you small. So it's all about, I call it more like a game. It's first of all you have to bring the fear to your consciousness so you really can hear the fear. and then you have to like turn it around. So if the fear is like trying to keep you small, like you can't do this or you can't pay the bills, that you have to turn around it for yourself and frame it to a positive way why you can, because otherwise the reason why you can't is always there. So you must make for yourself the way to why you can do it, or how you can make it fun for yourself so you can make the step. And of course, I mean, looking for myself an online marketing company, when I made the switch to coach, I did it step by step. So I wouldn't advise anybody like to burn your boats directly, but my advice would be do it step by step. So it's a better way to make the transition if you want to make a transition in your life. Yeah.
Okay, so I suppose set small goals and sort of work towards them goals. Maybe at the same time as you're in the career that you're in and doing the work that you're doing, you have to try
Yeah,
and make a little
definitely.
bit more time, maybe on an evening, to start building your new business, what you're ready to go
Mhm.
into, to really make sure that that business, once you do step away from what you're doing now, will be very successful. So I suppose it's just putting those key things in place, ready to make
Mm,
that transition, and not just going, all right, okay, I want to do this, and jumping into it without really thinking about what needs to be done. Take your time, I
yeah.
suppose, is what I'm trying to say, and make that gradual transition rather than just trying to jump straight into something and then end up. I mean, I would say probably this is one of the most common reasons for people failing or giving up, is the
Mm,
fact that they've not put a lot of thought into what they were going to do. They
yeah,
just kind of
definitely.
went for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a thing. It's a thing you can do, but it doesn't work. Like you also said, what's really important if you want to achieve something in life, you have to work out your goal, and you have to based on your goal, you have to make sub goals. Like you can make sub steps. And when you're still working for a boss, because I coach some people who are still working for a boss, have a great job, but they want to become an entrepreneur. We're really going to look
Mm.
at their day schedule and really going to figure out, can you like wake up earlier so you can get at least 1 hour you can do in the morning, because 1 hour is still winning it from nothing. So if you have like 1 hour or 30 minutes in the morning to work on your business, there's still work winning it from having no time. So that's a
Mm.
really important one to know, that always you can do something in the morning, always you can do something in the evening, even though if it's 1 hour a day and you got your weekends, that's enough time when you got focus to really build your business besides the normal job you have in life. Yeah.
And I think that's a really good point. And I see that in you. I follow you on Instagram, and I watch some of your
Mm.
videos and things that you put out there. And I think discipline and
Mm.
productivity,
Yeah.
so important. And I know, like you say, you get up at 5 in the morning. You're writing a book at the moment. I know you do
Mm.
your own podcast,
Yeah.
as well as your work and your gym,
Yeah.
walking your dog, spending time with your girlfriend. All
Mm.
that stuff you manage to get into a normal day,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're not superhuman.
No.
You're just the same as everybody else, but
Mm.
it's the discipline and the structure in your day, and really being having that productivity
Yeah.
in those hours, rather than saying, okay, I'm going to get up in the morning, I'm going to spend an extra hour in bed looking at Facebook. And
Mm.
then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go downstairs and get sidetracked by all these things in life that we can easily get sidetracked by, shiny things that passes,
Oh
and
wow. Yeah.
anything else. I think
Yeah.
that's really key, and as I say, I do see that very much in you.
It's so important. I think the biggest win you can make in being more productive in life, because a lot of people, yes, you can wake up at 5, but if you don't have the right principles in life, if you don't have the right habits, then might the first thing, like you said, you're gonna do is pick your phone, check out WhatsApp, check out Facebook, and before you know it, there's already 1 hour gone. You're already annoyed about all the things which happened on WhatsApp and Facebook. So it it doesn't work out. So yeah, it's all about discipline and being really productive and knowing what matters the most in your day, and which and what kind of things doesn't matter, and you should just skip them. Yep.
Yeah, and obviously that's not something that you just kind of turned on overnight. Again, it was
No.
it was probably putting those steps in place. And one of the things I was really intrigued by is, so you did a TEDx,
Mm.
which is like a TED Talks, and
Yeah.
at the beginning you talk about how you went to Egypt alone to work on yourself.
Yeah. Wow.
I know the next part of the story is really nice, but
Yeah.
just prior to going into that, I think that's a big thing to want to do. How old was you when you did this?
When I went to Egypt, so it was, I'm now 31. I was 29. Yeah, 29, 28, I think. 28 or 29. Yeah.
So it's and again, it comes to discipline. I think that not a lot of people would go to a different country. So you're based out in the Netherlands now,
Yeah,
um,
that's right.
and you just decided I want to go and work on myself. I want some alone time, and I'm going to fly out to Egypt. And I take it you went to a nice resort somewhere where you could relax.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the reason for that? First of
Oh
all,
wow. Well, the whole reason was that I was doing a lot of things at that time. So I was already an entrepreneur, and I had a lot of things going on. I was in a relationship which didn't work out anymore. So I was kind of going through the struggle and trying to keep it working. I think I went to festivals, things like that. So there was so much on my mind at that moment that I didn't give time for myself. And I think when I went there, my relationship it was ended. So yeah, I was really like, I just have to get somewhere because if you just stay at home, you always got things around you which are trying to get your attention. So distractions around you. So the fun thing was that I was looking online. I think it was in the weekend, and I was looking just at a nice way resort to go. And then I sent to my brother-in-law. I saw was sending a message like a joke, like I'm going to this resort all alone. And then he was like, "Oh, really? Why don't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, why don't I?" And so I booked it. And I was like, this is going to be awesome because I just got completely time for myself, nothing around me, just myself, my books. And I just going to invest time in myself to really get to know who I am, what I want in life. Because, yeah, the last few months were just a real struggle in life. Too much things were going on. I really needed some time for myself to really get back to who I am and to clarity in life.
clear, clear your head, yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, and that's I suppose a big thing that not a lot of us like to do. We don't like to look at ourselves in the mirror and question
No.
ourselves or sit back and think, who am I? What's my purpose? Where do I want to go? We like to sort of have that comfort of just getting on with things, even if sometimes it's a struggle as well, like in a relationship or whatever it may
Oh
be,
yeah,
with your work life. We still carry on and don't
yeah,
take enough time for ourselves. And I know I actually spoke to Victoria, your girlfriend or your
mm,
fiance, on
yeah,
this kind of stuff about taking time for yourself and loving yourself, which is obviously she's a massive advocate of that. But it
mm,
is really true, and I know a lot of people look at these things and hear these things and think, oh yeah, it's just cheesy or it's cliche. But actually, how many of us that really try to do that and take that time for ourselves and have a little bit of you time to
yeah,
really see things from a different perspective without all the other stuff that's going on, without all that craziness in your life.
yeah,
And I suppose this is where the sort of fairy tale of this story is that you go there on your own
mm.
and you meet the love of your life.
Yeah, it is indeed, and I think it's the biggest reason is that when I look back, and it's the thing like you attract the person who you are by yourself. So, for example, if you don't feel right, if you're low in energy, you attract people who are low in energy. So, me going to Egypt, work on myself, becoming more happy, becoming more clear who I am, is also setting
Mm,
me in a higher energy vibe, and that way you attract people of that same level. And I think that's what you also said. It's a really important thing because a lot of people they just know that the relationship they are in it's not right, but then they might also are afraid to be alone on themselves and things like that. Because I coach people, and some people I coach they had a relationship, they were in a relationship, they ended the relationship, and then they directly try to move on to a new relationship because they try to fill in their black hole, like the emptiness. They try to fill it in with a new relationship instead of they be like, why don't they just take some time to work on myself? And
Yeah.
that's a really important thing, yeah, because otherwise you just keep on going and it doesn't make you happy. And I think when you look to the Corona times now, like all for the things which are happen, but I think also a lot of people they don't like to be on themselves. They just don't know how to handle with that, being on them on their own and how to handle themselves. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's interesting. And I know I sent you a video earlier of Les Brown, who's a very inspirational and motivational speaker. And one of the things that he said in an interview that I watched him in before was, if you are in a group of people, say you're with 9 people who are
Mm,
not very good people,
yeah,
low life, up to no good, you're going to
yeah.
become number 10,
Yes.
you know?
It's so powerful. Even I was writing in my book about it and did the research, and they say the people around you, it's like 40% the chance that you're going to take over the way they are. So it's like 40% the things they have, you're going to take over. So if they have a bit bad influence on you, you're going to
Mm,
take those things over. Like, mm,
yeah. Yeah, it's very much so. And I like all that. When I hear them things, it's very true. And I'll sometimes be with people that are very smart.
mm.
And I always think it's a good thing to be the dumbest person in the room, if you
Oh
like. I
yeah,
often get told, "No, you're not. You're not the dumbest." But I still think, yeah, I am, and I understand that some of these people have been in the industry that I'm sort of stepping into for a lot longer, and I feel like I'm the dumbest person in that room. But then, at the same time, like if you're the smartest person in that group, you need to
yeah.
get a new group
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
definitely.
So
Yeah.
you should always be testing yourself in that way.
Yeah, that's really
Um,
important. I've been even been one time in a mastermind, which they said it should be really good, but the people were like just starting, so the difference was so big, and I was like, I just can't learn anything out of it. So it's really like
yeah,
you said, it's really important. You can better be the dumbest of the dumbest out of the group, so you can like learn the most out of it instead of you're the smartest, because yeah, then you really have to move to a new group. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So, what skills do you think you've gained throughout this process that's made you successful as a high performance coach and a business coach and an
Oh wow,
entrepreneur?
good questions. So a lot of skills, and I call them kind of muscles more likely. So one of the things is discipline, which is a really
Mm,
important one to have in life, because
mhm,
before I was disciplined, but not as I'm now. Like waking up at 5, doing the workout now, even doing an extra workout at 4. Really is bringing the discipline. Also with now with my deadline, I have my book. I just heard a week ago I got like 1 month to write my whole book, so that takes up a lot of discipline. Uh,
mm,
Self confidence, really important one, but interesting. Self confidence and self trust, I think you call it in English, has all to do with trusting yourself. And trusting yourself means all about doing the things you're telling yourself to do. So that was a really important one, also. Commitment in life, being courageous in life, and from a coach point of view, the most important one I learned is to listen well and to ask the right questions. That's your job as a coach. Your job as a coach is not to fill in what people need, but your job as a coach is to ask the right questions so they find their answer by themselves. So that are a
sure.
few really important things, and just taking like personal leadership in your life. It's all up to you. You have the choice what you want to do. So it's all up to you. So you can't blame anybody. You can't blame any other circumstances. It's all to you, and you can make the choice what you want in life. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's really good. And listening and asking the right questions, that makes sense to me in the fact that everybody's different. Everybody has different circumstances. So you can't just spout off generic questions to somebody that's going to work, and give an answer to what their needs are as a
No.
business person or as from a personal point of view without really listening and understanding their requirements.
Yeah, and which one is also very important, which changed a big way of my entrepreneur life. Before I was really like money focused,
Mm,
and now I always have like a kind of a thing I ask myself. The first thing is always, do I work from a place of love? So that means, do I want to create something? And am I always going all in? So, for example, if somebody's doing intake by me for coaching, and I know that I can't help them, but for example, they're going to tell me I will pay you 10,000 euros, then from a place of love, I would advise them not to get me as their coach. If I would do it from a place of fear, I would say yes, I would coach you. So I'm always doing the best way I can do for the client from their
Mm.
point of view. And that's really important. What that made a huge switch in my business that was giving me a lot of more new clients and just really enjoying the things because you're working for clients you really can help instead of quote unquote you need their money and that just doesn't feel right in life. No.
That kind of takes me back to your speech, what you made about people saying, "I can make you rich in 12
Mm,
months. I can
yeah.
make you lose this much weight and be muscular and everything else in 12 months." That's one of the things that you was talking about in that speech.
Yeah.
And actually, a lot of that stuff isn't true, and that's not from a place of love. That's from a place
No.
of wanting to take your money,
Yeah.
selling
Correct.
you the dream, if you like.
Yeah, it's just to get it. It's I think a lot of marketing hype to tell people to do kind of things, and I see it also here in the Netherlands going around. And I'd be like, you just can't do it. And even though I hear it in America, I think it's even illegal. I hear it. They can't even tell you that they can't promise you those kind of things. So I think yeah, just don't do it. Just promise things which you can really make come true for people, but don't say
Yeah.
things you can't make come true or you don't have any control over. Yeah.
And from a consumer perspective, one thing I always say and stick by is if it sounds too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true.
Yeah.
So if you're telling me I can have £1 million this time next year, that sounds too good to be true. Chances are it is, you know.
Oh, I
And
love
if
that.
somebody's
Yeah.
doing that for a fee, then you know what the motive is behind it. And
Cool.
you want to get to people like yourself, people that are genuine and honest, and people that want to help you.
Yeah. Correct. I love that. That's a really nice one.
Mm. So I was listening to something else about core values. I like the way you put a lot of things. So you'll have like you've got four core values. There's a lot of number things what you associate with theories. I know you've got the 11111.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about some of those theories and how you come up with those things, the values and the meaning behind everything?
Yeah, definitely. So I think when we look to coaching or well, when we look to clarity in life, the most important thing when you want to have clarity in life, it's all about the first question, like, who do I want to be? So if you look to the best version of yourself, you have to ask who's that kind of person, and the most easiest way to do that is to give yourself three core values. So that can just mean, for example, when I look to my best version of myself, my three values are one is discipline, the second one is commitment, and the third one is being courageous in life. And the good thing about this is if you know your three core values, you can put them, for example, in your mobile phone. Every morning, your mobile phone, for example, at 10, the alarm goes, and you will see the words. And that way, if you become conscious about the three words, you can set your attentions throughout the day. You can always ask yourself, am I living by the best version of myself who I want to be? So that's like the first step. And then another one you will have is our three words, which describes you, how you want to be in communication with other people. So that every time when you are in communication with somebody, you can always ask yourself. For example, one of myself is being an inspiration to other people or being a great listener to people. So when you be in communication, you can always ask yourself, like, am I an inspirational? Am I a great listener? Because that's the whole thing. And what I really like and just came up in my mind, I think, which is really strong, is that um, deep from inside, we all have core values. Only some people don't know their core values, so they're subconscious on their base, and other people are conscious about it. The only thing is because everybody has core values. When you're not living to your core values, you're gonna have days that you feel really bad because you're not acting upon the core values you have. So when you become clear about it, you can start living by them. So you will also feel more satisfied because otherwise you're sometimes just not living by your core values, and that will cause that you're not satisfied in life, or that you're are worried in life, and things like that. So that's one really important one. Yeah.
I really like that because I always associate principles, core values, and mission statements with businesses. But how
Mm,
you've done that is you've made that a personal thing.
yeah.
Do you recommend journaling? Because what was just going through my head while she was
Mm,
talking about that and talking about your core values as a person and how you want to be personably to other people was, let's say for instance, you write those values down and you want to be kind,
yeah.
you want to be a good listener. You could come to the end of the night before you go to bed and you could journal and say, have I been kind today? And
Mm,
then try and think of a time where you've been kind. Or
yes.
did I listen well today? And think of that time and write that down. I think
Yes.
that seems, and this isn't something I actually do myself, but after listening to what you're saying and thinking about it, if you really want to be a better person, you want to put these values and principles into place and take them into your own life. I feel like that would be a really
Mm,
good way of doing things. Is that something you
yeah.
do? Do you journal? Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do the journal, and this so powerful what you are saying, because that is the thing. If you look to yourself, if you want to become the best version of yourself, the best mentor you have in life is yourself. You can always ask yourself every day the question like, did I live as the person who I want to be? What can I learn from this day? What can I do the next time better? And that's all about every time when I coach people, every week they are growing, and that's because they become conscious about what they are doing and become conscious about the things which are working for them. So for example, every weekend I have a self-reflection about myself. I give myself score on some points, but also I always ask myself like, what are the things I can do better, or am I really living by my life's mission in life, and am I
Mm.
doing the right thing? So that way you can be a mentor by yourself to give yourself score. And for example, if I would say, well, I live, uh, if I look for example, my discipline this week is a 7, then I can ask myself, how can I turn that 7 into a 9? What do I have to do? So that way you can always challenge yourself to become better. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's really important. I think that's definitely something where, because at least you've got something to look back at and something to almost compete with as well. Sometimes it's healthy competition to say,
Mm,
actually, yeah, I did okay today, but tomorrow I can do better. And these are the
yeah.
things that I need to do to consistently better yourself and become that person that you really want to be. Become that person that you've written in your core values and your principles. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
correct.
yeah,
Because deep
yeah,
from inside, we know everything already. So it's just the thing to act upon it and to listen to ourselves and to keep ourselves to the words and doing the things we're telling ourselves to do. And then if we didn't do certain things, then give ourselves feedback and ask like, what can I do the next time better? Because life's
yeah.
all about growth, and about if it's life's all about growth, then you can always do better. But well, you have to reflect yourself and be honest about it, the things you are doing in life.
And that word came up again, act and action. That's something that's
Mm,
a very reoccurring theme throughout the whole series of these podcasts. I've talked to some people who've been in business people, athletes, and
mm,
everything. It always comes back to is action and taking action. I think even Victoria talks
yeah.
about the same thing and how important it is.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
how do you help somebody to take action? Because it's easy to say, right, these are the things you need to do,
Mm.
or how does that person help themselves to take action?
Ah, yeah. So the first thing in coaching, what is really important, like you said, it has to come from the person self. So first, the person has to be clear on the ways how he's doing things in life now, and he has to see for himself that there is another way of doing it. So, for example, if somebody is saying like I'm doing this or that, then and I want to ask him like, how can you do it better? One of my favorite questions I love to ask is always like, if you take yourself 1 year later from now, and that 1 year later they're standing the best version of yourself that was like in a perfect health conditioning, then
Mm,
asking the person like, what is the person doing differently, or what can that person teach you how you can make that switch based on your health, for example. And they always come with answers. But a real important thing there is that they always, from a point of view from themselves, they have to be open for change. So when I want to help somebody, when I want to coach somebody, I'm always doing an intake and I'm always checking if they're coachable. So if somebody is not coachable, so he's not following up the things he should be doing, the action steps, then I can't also help the person, because it also has always has to come from the person self. So the person really has to know by himself, I want to change, I want to go all in. And if the person wants to do that, then based on my coaching, I can keep him disciplined. We can make the action points, the action steps, and he can act upon it. And I got a lot of clients who are texting me in the morning and saying, like, I did a morning workout, or I did this, or I did that. And that way they are creating habits for themselves to become the better version of themselves. Yeah, but it has to come from themselves. So if they're not prepared to change, if they accept the way they are and the way they are living now, if they accept that, that's fine. But then I can't help them. They really have to be by themselves that they want to change. Yep.
So that person has to really want to take action and not just think about it. And I just wonder where people get stuck when it comes to needing to take action. Where
Mm.
is it when that's what goes through my head all the time. Like I said,
Yeah.
that it's such a recurring theme,
Yeah.
and I know there's a lot of people who've got potential and
Mm.
great ideas and things they want to do, and then they never seem to get there, or they don't take the action or put the
Yes. See.
steps in place to get there. And I don't know what it is. And in my head, I'm always saying, where are you going wrong, and what do you need to do within yourself to really make this happen?
Yeah. And the thing is that the thing I said in the beginning, there are most of the time there are three kind of fears which are holding people back. So the one fear is about losing things. So that way they don't want to move. So for example, if somebody want to make a career switch, they can be afraid to lose their nice colleagues they have. And other fear people have is all about the process pain. So they're afraid to put in the work. So for example, if they have
Mm,
to work on their health, they're afraid to put all those hours in it. And then the third fear, and that's one I hear by a lot of entrepreneurs, is the fear of the outcome. So there are, it's kind of funny. Two things I always hear. One is that they don't want to do it because they're thinking that they're going to put in a lot of work. For example, me writing my book, and they're going to put in a lot of work, and they won't get the results. Another thing which I hear a lot is kind of funny also, is that they don't want to do it because they're thinking it's going to be that huge success that they
mm.
can't handle it, so they don't do it. So it's mindset fears, but it can also be limited mindset. So thinking they're not good enough, or they don't deserve it, or they can't do it. So it's a lot of limited beliefs on subconscious level, which they also have to break through. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think one of the things is sacrifice. From this, what I can see is that you've got to make some sacrifices, and
Mm.
you've got to let go of those comforts, the sort of day to day things that you're used to being around. You're going to have to step out of that comfort zone and make a little bit of sacrifice.
Yeah.
And secondly to that, I mean, what I could hear is people being afraid to fail,
Yeah.
but by never even starting, they've already
Mm.
failed.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly. So
it's
it's
very
definitely.
it's a funny one, and I suppose it's one of those that, like, there's probably no real answer to it, and it's something that people have got to really work out in their heads. But I just wanted to get
Yeah.
your take on it because, and I know as disciplined as you are, and as successful as you've been, and happy as you are now, there
Mm.
will have been times in your life where you weren't happy,
Oh yeah,
where you weren't
definitely.
so disciplined. You know,
Mm.
these things are, you're not born this way.
No.
There's a lot of steps that have to be taken. And one thing that I always say about motivation, and this came from David Goggins, and I sent you a link about his book because it's a brilliant book, and
Mm.
his mindset completely changed. He completely changed his life around to the point where it's not something that I would even say that it's that achievable because he's so extreme.
Mm.
But if you can take, like, I take little bits from that, and it's to do with motivation. One of the biggest things that I drew from it is everybody talks about being motivated and having motivation.
Yeah.
David Goggins says motivation is crap. He
Yeah,
said
it is.
motivation, it comes and goes.
Mm.
And it's the real key is being driven,
Yeah.
being disciplined. And
Mm.
and that is really about what makes you successful
Oh,
and
yeah.
achieve what you want to achieve. It's that mindset, and it's a constant thing. It's not something that you can, right, I feel great today, so I'm going to go for a run because I feel good. Because tomorrow when you don't feel good, you're
Yeah.
not going to do it. And
Yeah.
his thing is, when he doesn't feel good, that is the main time to get your ass out of bed and go for
Mm.
that run. Because
Yes.
they're the times where you don't want to do things is the times when he's like, right, we have to do these things.
That's so true, and it's all about, like, when you, for example, look to discipline. It's all about, it's always like discipline is like a muscle. So if you want to have strong muscles, you have to train them. So discipline comes up when, for example, today my second workout was really hard, and I was like, I really have to do this, even though I don't want to do it. But if I do it, I become more disciplined in life. So you have to train that discipline muscle. For
So it's what
example,
we call muscle memory.
yeah,
So it's just
exactly.
basically getting that used to it. So it's just that consistency and keep going, because then suddenly it's muscle memory. It becomes normal. It doesn't
Yeah,
become, oh, I've got to go and do this. This is going to be hard. In your head, in your mind, you're saying, well, we do this all the time. It's just like, going for a walk.
yeah. It's like training, and I love the thing what you said about motivation, because that's how I also see it. It's like when people are like looking on YouTube for motivation or Instagram. It's like when you try take like a bandage or take some medicine to take the symptoms away, but you
Mm.
don't. Yeah, you don't fix the problem. And the same with like motivation. It's like you take it, you get a shot of 30 minutes of motivation, and then it's gone again. So you have to get a deeper level of discipline in yourself and really knowing your life's mission and why you want to do it. And theory, I like what Ep12, for example, is saying. Do you know Ep12? I think you might.
I don't know. No.
Oh, he's interesting. He's a really successful person also. And the thing he's always wondering is that he thinks there's going to be a time when he dies, he goes to heaven, and God is there, and God is telling him, well, God is showing him the person he could have
Mm.
become,
Mm.
and he wants to be exactly that person, because his biggest fear in life is that he's gonna see somebody who is totally not, so that you could see he could be so much more. And that's the thing I like also, that I always ask myself, like, I just know from inside I can become so much better. I got so much more potential in me, and that is what's always is driving me now, like that I just want to accomplish more, because I know where I came from, where I'm now, and I just started. So it's like every day you just want to become a better person, a better version of yourself, and strive for more. Yeah, it's like a really like getting an obsession, yeah, and healthy
Yeah.
obsession. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, it's very. I've heard things very similar. Again, going back to Les Brown, he said something,
Mm,
and I learned this off one of my guests on the podcast, because I didn't even know who Les Brown was until I had a friend of mine on who has his own nutrition business. He
mm,
read or listened to one of Les Brown's speeches, and it was the same kind of thing. It was that, when you're on death's door and you're being presented with all the ideas that you had, all the books that could have been written, all the things that you could have achieved, but
mm,
you actually didn't. And he said it was something like 90% of ideas and all great things
mm.
are basically in the graveyard, because they,
Wow,
they were never, they're never actioned.
wow, that's
Yeah.
painful.
Mm.
Mm,
And it's the same with, again, another person that you wouldn't really look to for motivation. Maybe you wouldn't look at as somebody who's a motivational speaker, or the type of person that I've talked about in other podcasts, the type of people like David Goggins and things like that. But he's a successful person. It's Kevin Hart.
oh yeah,
And
wow.
well, I read his book, And I was very surprised at some of the things that he said, and it was quite inspiring. And I soon learned that actually this guy, because he plays that funny, wacky, zany character all the
Mm.
time in films,
Yeah.
that's not really who he is. He's actually a very smart guy. He's a great businessman, and
Mm.
he said the same thing. And what he compares his life to is, well, he basically says like he's writing his own book. His life is a book, and all he thinks about is how he wants his book to be read when he's gone.
Wow.
So like he's basically writing that book. How do you want those chapters to be?
Hmm.
You got a beginning, a middle, and an end. How do you want that end to be read? You know,
Wow.
and that kind of leads us on nicely to you writing your book.
Mm. Yeah. That's rich. Yeah.
So what is your book about?
So my book is about how to become a game changer. So it's like the book is about all about how to become the best version of yourself, and I break it down in 4 steps. So there's going to be 4 steps in the book. I'm breaking it down, so there are like 4 levels in the book, which I
Mm,
can say already. And in every part I give like the exact advices and practical tips how to become how to reach out to level 1, how to reach out to level 2, 3, and 4. And the thing about the book is that I read a lot of books, and there are a lot of great books. Only the thing about the most books is that they're not very practical. And I want to
mm.
make a very practical book so that after every part, they're going to work out their planning. So they're directly going to integrate it in their life. So the whole book is going to get integrated in their life, and they can live by the book. And so the book is really about, yeah, how to become that game changer, how to become the best version of yourself. And then just knowing, like, if you're going to read the book, exactly what steps do you have to take every single day to become that game changer in your life.
I like the fact that you've looked at it and you're making it practical. You're making it realistic and achievable.
Yeah.
One of the things I always think I used to I cook. I like cooking,
Mm.
and I used to buy recipe books, cookbooks, Gordon Ramsay for instance,
Ah, yeah.
and I'd open the book and I'd see a list of ingredients I would never keep in my cupboard. And it's the same thing as what you're saying. Like, you need to make sure that that person has the list of tools that they need. So it's got to be
Yeah.
practical.
Very
You
practical.
can't just base a book on somebody having things that they don't have. So I like that. If you've made that practical, that
Yeah.
makes it then achievable. Because I
Yeah.
tell you what, I never cooked any of those recipes.
No. That's the thing, and also in the books there are so many books. There are great books, but there is so much like fluff in it to make the books like bigger and more pages. And
Yeah.
we were writing that way, and my text writer she like striping words away, putting things away, to make it like so practical that people directly know. Okay, so who is Wouter? So I couldn't bring my own personal style in it, and I also show people like where I started so they can relate to me, because that's what I hear a lot of times from my clients, that they can very relate to me, who I am as a person and what I do.
Mm. Mm.
And that way really showing people like how they become the best version of themselves, and that it is possible. And I show them exactly what steps to take in life to get there.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds
Mm.
good. I'm definitely going to be looking for that then. So when are you planning to release the book?
So I'm planning to. My book writer was giving me the deadline for the 20th of June, and then first it's going to be in Dutch, so the Netherlands language.
Yeah.
But I, as soon as possible, want to translate it to English to get it international as soon as possible. So I think in the Netherlands, what they said, we're gonna first launch like a crowdfund campaign for the first chapter of the book. So that will come first. So that might be coming already very soonish. And then we want to have it like completely published in around November 2020, to like being in the stores and people can buy it. So then it will be Dutch. So then very soon we want to translate it into English, because it's going to take some time, they said. And then I want to bring it international so everybody can read it, which is a better thing
Awesome.
because the Dutch audience is not that big.
Yeah. So are you from the Netherlands then? Are you from Germany originally? Because is Kleinsman, is that a German name or is that
Yeah. Nah, I think it's a Dutch, so Netherlands name, but
Okay, so it is
people
Netherlands.
do think I'm when
Like
I
I'm
speak.
thinking like Klinsman, like Jurgen Klinsman.
Yeah, it could definitely be. Well, the fun thing is when you talk about it, every time when I speak somewhere as a keynote speaker,
Mm.
always one person is coming to me and is asking me if I'm German. So, but I said no, I'm not German. I can't even speak it. Maybe a little bit,
I f-
but
yeah, because I feel like you do have a German Dutch twang when you speak English, like because Dutch people sound a certain way, but you do have a slight like a mixture of the two. But is that potentially because of where you live? Do you border
yeah,
Germany?
yeah, we're very close. So we're like
Mm,
50 minutes, and we got a dialect which calls Twents, and they say if we proper talk in our dialect, which I can't, then it's almost the same as German.
right.
That's what they say. So I think that's why. Yeah, yeah,
Does that mean FC20 is your team?
yeah. I don't watch football. I don't like football, but I know
But
it's FC
yeah,
Twente. Yeah,
yeah. Okay, okay.
yeah.
Um, what amazed me actually is when I was looking at your podcast is that you actually record in Dutch and English, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
that's
It's
discipline.
just I just want to go international because I really love that. But also knowing that I built my names in all these years in the Netherlands, so it's the main focus is the Netherlands, and I'm glad I have Victoria because also she's like translating all my articles, which is a lot of work. She's translating them all in English in my website, so that's easier for me to also get to help people in England and other cities and yeah,
Mm.
countries to help them.
Well, your English is very good. I understand you perfectly. So
Ah,
yeah,
thank you.
it's much better than my Dutch.
Mine went a lot of better because when I spoke with Victoria in Egypt for the first time, she nearly couldn't understand me, and now I'm getting better at it because we just
Wow,
speak the whole day English at home, so that's why.
so good because she says a lot of things, good things about you, and you're the same. It's like you've really learned a lot from each other. It seems like a very nice relationship that you two have.
Oh, it's like it's insane. It was kind of funny because today we got like some cards, not angel cards, but they a bit look like it, and we both got the same set, and we both draw out a card out of the package, and we exactly draw the same cards. And
Wow.
the thing is like we're like what I said in the TEDx talk also, we're completely on one level in our relationship. We never have a fight. We're like open for everything for personal development. It's like just like what we call soul twins, how we call it. And it's just I never
Mm.
thought it in my life. It's just unbelievable and I wish everybody could have it. So in my book I also write about how to find your ideal partner because it's possible for everybody. Yeah.
Just go to Egypt on your own.
Yeah, indeed. Go
Done.
to Egypt alone, work on yourself, read some books I advise there, and there you go.
Excellent.
Yeah.
One thing I missed out earlier, what I wanted to pick up on whilst I was talking about your sort of theories in your core values was the
Mm.
1-1-1-1-1.
Yeah.
And yesterday you actually did a 2. um, no, today it was today, wasn't it? You did a 2 workout. So just
Yeah.
go back to that if you want to pick up on that and just explain what you mean by that theory.
Yeah. So the 1-1-1-1 is it just came really quickly in my mind. It's one thing it came in my dream. I was just dreaming about it. That was the most weird thing. And what it's all about is that the one of the ones stand for one theme a month. So, for example, the thing is that focus is really important. If you want to grow as a person, what a lot of people are doing, they try to focus on a lot of different things. But the one thing about the theme is that for every month you pick one theme where you can focus on. So, for example, it could be marketing, or it could be personal development, or it could be sales, or it could be cooking, for example. And that's what you then do when you know your theme. That you kind of look around and ask yourself, who's the number one go-to guy or girl who I should follow? Read his books, check the podcast to really get better in that one theme, which is really important. And then another thing about one is always do one thing more a day. So, for example, if you're running outside and you did 5 miles, then you ask yourself, what if I can do 1 mile extra? Because if
Mhm.
you do that one thing extra, and you're going to do it every day, one thing extra, you work on your discipline in life. So I do it the same with my workouts. When I don't want my workouts, I'm just going to say, well, you know what? I'm just going to do an extra 500-meter row, for example. I don't like it, but it works on my discipline. So that's
But you feel
really,
great after as well, right?
yeah, that's the whole thing. And it's so simple to do, because the thing about the 111 is that you just do a little bit extra, and you just make that little switch in your life. Because if you directly want to do too many new things, it's really hard to install and to keep yourself to that. So
Yeah.
that's a really important one to do. Yeah, yeah. So just some easy steps which you can implement in your life. So it's the one theme I must think, because I just told about it like a week ago, because I got so much things on my mind. I'd be like, what was the 111 already? But it was indeed the one thing. Do one thing extra. Oh yes, do one thing out of your comfort zone
Mm.
every day. So always ask yourself, what is one bold move I can make in life? I've got the other one. Do you know the other one? It's really bad that I don't know the other one anymore. But do you know the
No,
other
but
one?
off the top of my head,
Yeah,
I don't.
the thing. The fun thing is about there are like so many things you can like integrate, like easy steps you can build into your life. So I'll write them all down like models, which you can also integrate. So I'm always check what's the other one already, but at this moment it just doesn't pop in my mind anymore.
And it's fine, but you know, you're a busy guy. You got a lot on. You've had two workouts today. You know, you're writing your
Yeah.
book. You're doing so much stuff. I can imagine. So, I suppose we can tune into your podcast. We can get you on YouTube. So if
Mm.
people do want to look into these theories, these sort of plans that you're putting together and these points, what people can take into their lives, what we'll do is we'll take your socials down and we'll put those on the podcast in the bio anyway, so
Cool.
then they can check the 1111 themselves.
Mm.
Check all the other things. I know these are just a couple of things that I
Yeah.
picked out specifically that I really liked. The one more thing I really like, because and you actually mentioned it, like when you go running, that's something I tend to do. And
Yeah.
especially from the David Goggins thing, actually at one point, quite recently, I went running, and within the first kilometre, I was like, I don't want to do this. I'm not
Ah.
enjoying this. I really don't want to do it. I got to a point where I was at a crossroads, and initially when I went out, I was going to take a right, which was a
Yeah.
shorter route back to home. And because I was hating it so much, because I was like, I didn't want to do it, instead I took the left. And in the end, I put on an extra 3 or 4 kilometers onto my run. But
Mm.
actually, by the time I got home, I was really happy with what I'd done, and I
Yes.
achieved something extra. So it is just that giving yourself, doing a little bit more.
Yeah.
The other thing that you said about doing things out your comfort zone, what I like about that, and a lot of people will think it's silly, and it can be silly. What you
Mm.
actually do, it can be something really silly, but again, it comes back to that comfort and just like being in your shell and not coming out of that shell. I
Yeah.
like the fact that if you can do these things and do something out of your comfort zone every day, or even just a couple of times a week,
Yeah.
it prepares you for times when you would normally kind of freeze and be like, oh, and be a little bit shy and not want to do something. It makes you a little bit more confident to go in and do something, because you're getting yourself used to coming away from your comfort zone slowly. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's being prepared for something that is going to come in the future, and it could be something really big that comes up, maybe in a job interview or something, and you just have that sort of extra confidence because you're used to getting out of your comfort zone a little bit, because you are going to be tested in life.
Yeah.
So why not be prepared beforehand?
Yeah, definitely. It's just all about mindset. And the other one, which was now popping up in my mind of the 111, is all about your one thing. So it's like doing every morning, like for 1 hour long, do your one most important task, which is really in line with your goal, which you want to achieve. And I think that one is really important, because if you could do one thing every single day, for example, if it would be 30 minutes, it's going to be a one thing, because if you can do something which is really the needle mover, you can spend 30 minutes a day on it. It's just a game changer in your life, because you're going to move that quickly. Yeah.
And can I add a one onto the end of that for you?
Yeah, for sure.
And it's just taking us back to where we started, is look after number one.
Mm.
And I don't know if you know that translation, but it's basically taking care of yourself and looking after yourself.
Yeah, wow. That's just the most important thing. And it's also about the one thing, because so many times we're always choosing for somebody else instead of we first take care of ourselves. So that's why I wake up at 5, and from 5 till 8:30 it's all about myself, my meditation, my workouts, my everything. And if you do that and then you take care of other, it works out so much better. Yeah.
Awesome. Right, Wouter, I'm sure you know how this podcast usually ends.
Is it with
Sure.
the hard questions, or?
It's a quiz.
Yeah. Oh, I heard about it. I'm so bad at those kind of things.
So, yeah, I was a little bit apprehensive, and I thought, this might be a little bit unfair because, you're not based in England. I mean, a lot of the stuff is kind of English or US if it's TV shows or music and stuff like that. But are you willing to have a go at it?
Oh, definitely, because, well, we have plans to move next year to England, so I have to get better in this. So you can
So
challenge
you're
me on
looking to
that.
move? You're actually looking
Yeah,
to move to England? Awesome.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So
Well, we'll
yeah,
definitely have to get together.
yeah, definitely. I can wait for that. It'll be amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I'll get my wife and you and Victoria, and we'll all
Ah,
go out for some non-alcoholic beverages for you anyway.
yeah, indeed. Or maybe one on special evenings. I always will drink one. So if there are good
Nice.
drinks.
It will be a special evening. Yeah,
Oh,
and we'll get
definitely.
we'll get some burritos.
Oh, that's well nice. Can't wait for that.
Right. Okay. So how this
Hmm,
works, in case you don't know, is that you get 60 seconds to answer as many questions correct as possible. Simple as that, really. If you don't know the answer, best thing to do is just say pass and we move on.
cool. I hope your list of questions is long enough.
Yeah, well, I don't know. If you pass too many times, I might run out because I think this is the 12th podcast now. So there's been a hell of a lot of questions that I've had to sort of print off the internet.
Indeed, yeah.
Well,
Cool.
okay. So in 3, 2, 1, what kind of animal is Sid in Ice Age?
Oh, it's like a squirrel with a nut.
Next, in what year did the Titanic sink?
Oh, I don't know.
A
Pass.
meteorologist studies what?
Uh, mites. Oh,
Meteorologist.
pass.
How many of Henry VIII's wives survived?
Oh, no way. Pass.
What do angles on a straight line always add up to? How many degrees?
It just keeps on going, isn't it? Like angels and strict. Oh my god!
Okay, let's
Wow.
move on. You'll
Yep.
get this one. Who was the first man to land on the moon?
Neil Armstrong. Oh, yeah. Oh, oh my god, Neil Armstrong. I think I said to
Yeah. It
Victoria,
is,
my
it
brains are not working after the book anymore today. Neil Armstrong. Yes.
Oh, we've run out of time. But
Really.
it was Neil Armstrong. You should have just said yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give you one more question. Paris is the capital of France and is known as the city of what?
Love.
Well done.
Yeah.
There you go. You got
It was quite funny because I was walking with the dog, with Victoria, and it said, one thing I was always terrible at is this kind of questions. And the reason is, it sounds maybe a bit rude, but I don't give a dot about it. It's like I don't watch the news, I don't watch anything. So in those kind, I'm pretty dumb to call that. Yeah.
You're not dumb, Walter.
Nah.
You're just very focused and you're very much about
Mm,
being present in yourself and your life and doing, the main things, that the real important things, rather
yeah.
than knowing a load of garbage answers to questions like this, which I'm actually really good at, and that makes me dumb.
No, everybody has their strong points, like you were beginning at this talk. Everybody got their strong points, and definitely, yeah.
Well, look, you got two. This the first two people out on the podcast only got two as well, so it doesn't put you any lower than those guys.
No.
It does give Victoria bragging rights because I think she got 4, if my mind serves me right.
I heard that she was walking about, and I thought about it now. It's good she's already sleeping, so
yeah, you can speak to her tomorrow about it.
Indeed,
hopefully she has a listen back.
Yeah, she can have it. She deserves it.
Yeah, bless. So if you want to finish up with your socials, so whether that be your website, your main kind of social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, we'll put those down on the bio.
All right. Yeah, shall I just tell them where they can find me?
Call them out now, and they'll go in the bio as well. Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, if people are interested in me, they go to my international site is Wouter Kleinsman. I know it's a hard name. .com. And on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Wouter Kleinsman. Instagram, same, Instagram.com/Wouter Kleinsman. And even on YouTube, /Wouter Kleinsman. But I will give you the URLs because that makes more sense with my name and last name. Yeah.
No worries. Yeah. Brilliant. Nice and easy. Wouter Kleinsman. So you send me those anyway. They'll go up on the bio. I really urge people to go and check out your stuff, check out your podcast, watch your YouTube videos. Very, very good advice on there.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you for being my guest today.
Oh, thank you. It was really awesome. Really, thank you for this.
This podcast is sponsored by Beast and Bulk Nutrition. Train better, live better, be better. If you're looking to increase muscle mass, promote muscular endurance and increase strength, then Beast and Bulk Nutrition have the key ingredients to supplement your health and fitness program. With CreaBulk, made with the highest quality, purest creatine monohydrate, its potent 4,000 milligram servings will provide that extra pump and increase those muscle gains. Testo Beast. This testosterone booster is made up with 9 top natural and powerful ingredients including ashwagandha, vitamin D, luteolin and zinc, which effectively help boost your testosterone levels, strengthen endurance. And then there's the Chaotic Beast. Chaotic Beast is a scientifically formulated pre-workout supplement providing the perfect balance of caffeine, creatine and branched-chain amino acids to kickstart your training sessions, giving you the focused and prolonged muscle endurance throughout. Its sour apple flavour makes it a more pleasurable experience compared to its market rivals. Visit the website beastandbulk.com or find them on Amazon using the promo code POD10 at the checkout for a 10% discount courtesy of Project Pod. That's POD10 at the checkout for a 10% discount. Beast and Bulk. Don't compete, dominate.